Yes, ladies and gentlemen, we are about 6.5 months away from the start of college football season. I didn't know. I get a little nuts. Welcome to the initial program called Student Body Right, formerly the Line of Scrimmage. I am your host, Ryan Neff. I will be going through the 225 ACC schedule. All the conferences have come up with their schedules for the 2025-2026 season. I'm going to go down week to week. This will be a short episode. Might get into some news and notes. Hope everybody has recovered from Super Bowl Sunday. But I will dive into the ACC schedule. I will go down through alphabetical order a three conference. So next week it'll be a different conference. Following week it'll be different conference. Yada yada yada, et cetera, et cetera. So just glancing over the schedule here. Week 0, which I don't know why they call it week 0, but week 0, nothing really stood out to me. Week 1, Thursday, August 29th, East Carolina is at NC State. Every year I am trying to figure out NC State, waiting for them to take the next step. Couldn't do it last year either. East Carolina is going to be no slouch. So that's an interesting matchup week 1. And there are some other intriguing matchups week 1. Syracuse, which had a fantastic season last year, travels to Tennessee, which will be interesting. That game is in Atlanta, Georgia. LSU is at Clemson, the Battle of the Tigers, ladies and gentlemen. Battle of the Death Valleys. That should be a good one. So early tough matchups for Syracuse and Clemson. Alabama is at Florida State. How was Florida State going to respond after their debacle season last year? Alabama should win that game. Georgia Tech travels to Colorado week 1. Intriguing. Georgia Tech had a decent year last year, not saying it was gangbusters. Colorado, obviously, Travis Hunter gone, Shedeur Sanders gone. See how Colorado reloads. Cal is at Oregon State. I remember Oregon State, part of the Pac-12, Pac-2 plus whatever in the coming years. And Cal in the ACC. Be interesting to see how that one goes. Then on Sunday, August 31st, this is week 1, by the way. Virginia Tech takes on South Carolina. Interesting. South Carolina played well at the end of last year. Virginia Tech, And Notre Dame at Miami, a rivalry renewed. Cam Ward gone from Miami. Obviously, Carson Beck bolted from Georgia, said he was going to go to the NFL. Reneged on that. Now he's with Miami. Good early matchup. And then Monday, September 1st, which is Labor Day. Labor Day is early this year. TCU is at North Carolina. The opening of the Bill Belichick era in North Carolina. Interesting to see how that one would go. Week 2, some games that popped out at me. Boston College is at Michigan State. See how Jonathan Smith's second year at Michigan State goes. Boston College with a decent year last year, not, again, gangbusters. Baylor's at SMU in week 2. Another game that popped out. See how SMU responds after their tremendous season last year. Illinois at Duke. Another intriguing matchup. Duke with a so-so season last year. Illinois, fantastic year. See how that one goes. Looking at the other week 2 matchups, nothing really stands out. Then we go to week 3. Thursday, September 11th. Yes, 9/11, the anniversary. NC State's at Wake Forest. Again, in-state rivalry. Clemson at Georgia Tech. Again, always a tough place to play in Atlanta against Tech. So that'll be interesting. Pitt's at West Virginia. Another intriguing one. Minnesota's at Cal. Another interesting matchup. The Fighting Flex of Minnesota. Those were the only ones that sort of stood out to me. Week 4, Syracuse is at Clemson. Again, another toughie for Clemson, but they get them at home. NC State's at Duke. Again, in-state. My Florida Gators are at the Hurricanes. Again, Gators with another rough schedule in the SEC and out of conference. That would go a long way for Florida to beat Miami on the road. But that's another intriguing one. SMU at TCU. Battle of Texas there. Texas schools. North Carolina's at UCF. Tough matchup on the road for the Fighting Bill Belichick. Week number 5. Nothing really that stands out in week 5. Sort of ho-hum, dull matchups. Although Georgia Tech, no. Duke at Syracuse might be intriguing. See where they are in week 5, what their records are. In the Carrier Dome, might be a tough spot for Duke. Week 6, Clemson at North Carolina. See how Clemson does on the road against Bill Belichick. Miami at Florida State, obviously. In-state rivalry, not so much of an in-state rivalry of late. Excuse me, Syracuse is at SMU. That should be a decent one. These are games that I think week to week will shape the ACC. Week number 7. Nothing really stands out. The NC State at Notre Dame. Notre Dame should probably handle them. The other matchups are sort of ho-hum in the AC. So we go into week 8. SMU at Clemson. Of course, you remember the ACC title game. Clemson won the ACC title game. Both got into the playoff. Didn't do all that well. Could be another classic. Looking at the rest of week 8, nothing stands out. So we go to week 9. Syracuse at Georgia Tech. Another good one. That's really the only good one there in week 9. So we go to week 10, which is Halloween weekend. Halloween is on a Friday this year. A couple of ones, Duke at Clemson, although it's at Clemson. Duke really doesn't have a lot of success there. Intriguing. And Miami at SMU. See how Miami performs when they travel to SMU. Those are the really only ones that are standing out to me. Week 11 should be the weekend of November 8th. The only game that sort of stands out to me is Syracuse at Miami. Again, Syracuse coming off a really good year last year. See where both these programs are in week 11. That's an intriguing one. We head on to week 12. Friday, Clemson at Louisville. Should be a good one. Notre Dame at Pitt. Intriguing. You remember Pitt last year started off the season 7-1. And I think they lost their last 5 games. Not sure what kind of squad Pitt will produce this year, but that will be an intriguing one in week 12. Week 13, Duke at North Carolina, obviously a rivalry. Louisville at SMU, intriguing. Miami at Virginia Tech, probably be a night game. Syracuse and Notre Dame should be a good one. Week 14, obviously there's some rivalry games. Clemson at South Carolina, Florida State at Florida, North Carolina State, Miami at Pitt, another intriguing one. So those are the games week to week I think will shape the ACC, and a lot is going to go on between now and August. Transfer portal, spring games. Have to see how all that goes first. When you look at it overall, if we go back to the ACC standings from 2024. Give me just a second here. Excuse me. SMU in the regular season, they were 8-0 in the conference. They were 11-3 overall. Clemson was second. They were 7-1 in conference. They were 10-4 overall. Miami was third at 6-2. Of course, they lost the last game of the year that knocked them out of the ACC championship game. They were 10-3 overall. Syracuse and Louisville were both 5-3 in conference. Syracuse wound up 10-3. Louisville wound up 9-4. Sorry, I'm still battling this. Whatever it's been 2.5 weeks. Georgia Tech was 5-3 in conference. They were 7-6 overall. Duke was 7th in the league. They were 5-3 in conference. They were 9-4 overall. My apologies to Duke. They did have a good season last year. Virginia Tech was 8th, 4-4 in the conference. They were 6-7 overall. Boston College was 4-4. They were 9th in the conference. They were 7-6 overall. 10th was NC State. Again, always waiting for NC State to take the next step, but they were 3-5 in conference, 6-7 overall. And to round everything out, Pittsburgh was, 1, 2, 10. They were 11th overall in the conference. They were 3-5 in conference, 7-6 overall. Again, they started off the season 7-1. Virginia was 12th, 3-5 in the conference, 5-7 overall. UNC was 13th. They were 3-5 overall, 6-7 in conference. California was 14th, 2-6 overall, 2-6 in the conference, 6-7 overall. Good out of conference record for Cal. Wake Forest, Stanford, and Florida State rounded it out. Wake Forest and Stanford were both 2-6 in conference. Wake was 4-8 overall. Stanford was 3-9 overall, and of course Florida State with just an abysmal season. 1-7 in conference. They were 2-10 overall. So when you look at the ACC, for the most part, it'll be the same players. SMU will be tough. Clemson will probably be the favorite to win it again. Miami's got some people to replace. Syracuse on the upswing. Louisville's always in the mix. Georgia Tech could make some noise. Duke could make some noise. But some of the other teams on the bottom half want to see how Virginia Tech responds to the season they had last year. I mean, Boston College with a decent season, but we'll see what improvements they have made. Again, I already talked about NC State. And when people talk about NC State every year, they're wondering when they're going to take the next step, and they don't. How will Pitt respond after going 7-1 last year and finishing the season 0-5? Virginia's Virginia. North Carolina under Bill Belichick. How much will they improve on their 6-7 overall record last year? Cal, can they improve in conference? Wake Forest, Stanford. See how they will do, and we'll see how Florida State responds to that 2-10 record last year. But Clemson will probably be the favorite to win it all. They'll probably be the consensus come July. Again, still have to see how spring goes, the transfer portal, what injuries happen in fall camp, summer camp, really. And again, long way off. And again, I really wish to get rid of the whole week 0 shit and just start everything week 1. Don't have a week 0. It's dumb. There's no point to it. Some news and notes from around the world of college football. Buffalo has rewarded head coach Pete Lembo with a raise and extension. That would be the University of Buffalo. They went 9-4 last year, if you remember. Fantastic season for Buffalo. There are no details other than the fact that he received an additional year on his contract through the 2029 season. Doesn't say what the amount was. So good for him. Buffalo, hard place to win. 9-4. They're in the MAC. From Buffalo standards, 9-4. Yeah, fantastic season. BYU athletic director Tom Holmoe retiring after 20 plus years there at the school. He helped BYU join the Big 12 Conference, obviously, in 2023. He was hired as the school's athletic director in March 2005 after joining BYU in 2002 as an associate athletic director for development. During his tenure, BYU has captured 4 NCAA titles and 133 conference regular season and postseason championships across 21 sports. More than 350 student athletes have earned All-America recognition during that time. So, good luck in the next chapter. Excuse me. North Carolina is expected to hire Brian Belichick as safeties coach. He's the youngest son of Bill Belichick. He spent the last 5 seasons as the New England Patriots safeties coach before bolting in January. So he's keeping it all in the family, ladies and gentlemen. Ex-Ohio State University coach Jim Tressel nominated as Ohio Lieutenant Governor. He's also served as president at Youngstown State University. He will be the lieutenant governor for Governor Mike DeWine. The nomination must now be approved by the Ohio State Senate and Ohio House. So good luck to him. Colorado defensive coordinator Robert Livingston has received a 2-year extension. He will earn $1.5 million in 2025 and $1.7 million in 2026. According to sources, and a new agreement includes performance incentives. So Colorado keeps him. Just trying to look over some other news and notes on the world of college football. Again, we are a couple of months away from spring games starting, which will probably kick off the first week of April, last to the end of April. I'm interested to see what some of these teams make as additions, who they've lost. It is a smorgasbord or a potpourri of crap when it comes to the transfer portal. You can't keep up with it. If you go to the transfer portal, NCAA transfer portal, college football, your head will spin like Linda Blair in The Exorcist. Just looking at some other things that are jumping out at me, nothing really. An NFL draft coming up, I believe, in April. I said it's going to be a short program today. We went over the ACC schedule, obviously, the games that I think will shape the ACC. Again, it'll be interesting. Let's go to the world of college basketball, ladies and gentlemen. Top 25 in action tonight. In the men's, at the half, number 1 Auburn leads Vanderbilt 34-32. In the first, number 3 Florida and number 22 Mississippi State are deadlocked at 30 apiece. Minute 19 left in the first half. In the first half, right now, number 15 Kentucky leads number 5 Tennessee 35-26. At the half, number 7 Purdue leads Michigan 37-35. At the half, Iowa State, number 10 Iowa State over UCF 32-30. Later on tonight, big time action tonight. At 8 o'clock, number 13 Arizona travels to take on Kansas State. At 8:30 p.m., DePaul travels to take on number 18 Marquette. At 9, number 2 Alabama travels to take on Texas. At 9, Georgia travels to take on number 8 Texas A&M. We're getting into the nitty-gritty of the season now. Also at 9, Indiana travels to take on number 11 Michigan State. Also at 9, Colorado travels to take on number 17 Kansas. And at 9 o'clock, UConn, who has dropped out of the top 25, travels to take on number 24 Creighton. Let's go to the women. Top 25 action tonight. 2 games. Early in the second period, number 11 TCU leads by BYU 23-21. Later on at 8 o'clock, about 5 minutes, number 18 West Virginia is taking on number 25 Baylor in Waco. So I think that's going to cover it for tonight. Really, we're in sort of a dead period for college football until the spring games. Something would really have to blow up Shoe8. And I'm not really seeing anything. Yeah, I'm not really seeing anything. Excuse me. Just for shits and giggles. This is from NCAA.com. I would just give you an insight. This is their way too early college football top 25 rankings for next year. And I'll run them down for you. At number 25, they have Navy. Hey. Why is my laptop talking to me? The laptop's talking to me for some reason. I don't know why. Hey. Hey. Shut up. Again, Navy's at 25. Vanderbilt's at 24. They have Michigan at 23. This is all the 2025-2026 way too early rankings. They have Iowa State 22nd, Texas A&M 21st. They have SMU 20th, Indiana 19th, BYU 18th, Ole Miss 17th. They have Florida 16th. Kansas State 15th, Arizona State 14th, Illinois 13th, Alabama 12th, Miami 11th. They have Tennessee 10th, South Carolina getting love at 9th, LSU 8th, Georgia is 7th, which I sort of agree with because they're sort of in like an influx period. 6th, they have Oregon. 5, they have Clemson. I think that might be a little bit too high for them. Notre Dame 4th, Penn State 3rd, Ohio State 2nd, Texas 1st. As of right now, I would be picking Penn State to win the Big Ten. With all they have coming back. Again, Ohio State, a little bit of a influx. And I think Penn State could very well win the Big Ten next year. With all that Texas has coming back, the Arch Manning era will begin. Texas will be loaded. They'll be the favorites to win the national title next year. So with all that being said, ladies and gentlemen, this will do it for the initial Student Body Right. I want to thank everybody who tunes in live. I want to thank everybody that checks this out later. On YouTube, you can hit subscribe. Tell all your friends. Tell your senators. Tell your congressmen, congresswomen. Tell your family. Tell your friends. Tell your woke people. Tell your Doge people. Tell your woke people. Again, practice compassion. Practice empathy. Have passion for what you do. Give somebody a hug today. You might make their day. Tell somebody you love them. You might make their day. See somebody struggling. Don't just pass the buck on to somebody else. Inquire. That's what the world needs more of. You see somebody struggling, show that you care instead of just turning a blind eye, because that's what the world needs more of. So with that all being said, I will see everybody tomorrow on Early Sports Buffet. I don't even know what the hell. It's been a long day, ladies and gentlemen. Early Sports Buffet with me, the Ginch, at 7 o'clock tomorrow. D-Gun, Mr. Derek Gunn, will be on to talk Super Bowl 59. The Eagles run to the Super Bowl. I'll be picking his brain. Hopefully he has about 20, 25 minutes to spend with me. That'll be a hoot. So tune in tomorrow for that. I will see everybody tomorrow at 7 o'clock with Mr. D-Gun himself to talk Eagles football on Early Sports Buffet with me, the Ginch. Take care, everybody, and have a great night.
What is your major malfunction, numbnuts? What